Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at special types in TypeScript. Let's get into it. The first one we're going to be taking a look at is any, type any. So let's have an example of that. Let num is equals to 10. Now, num is of type number right now. And we can actually show that by just writing here a number. Say console log num, this would give us 10. If I try to reassign another value to num, let's say string of football, this will throw an error. You can see the red line. If I over it, it says type string is not assignable to type number. Yeah, that was expected. We kind of knew that was going to happen because this is clearly number and we can't assign string to number. But what if we want to actually do this? There's in some cases we want to be able to do this. Let's see what happens when we type any. The error disappears and it logs football to the console. The reason why the error disappears is because when using any, it disables TypeScript. It deactivates type checking. Um, Type checking and the type safety would not work anymore. So it kind of takes you back to JavaScript, right? So type using any is kind of frowned upon in the community, and it's advised not to use it because why use any? Why use TypeScript if you're going to use any? And it can causes bug in your code later in the future. That is very possible because at this point you're just using mix matching TypeScript and JavaScript together. So it's kind of not correct. Though it's there's nothing bad in using it. It's not going to throw errors in your code, but just the best practice is not one of them. It's not one of the best practices to do it. Using any is not proper. What is proper? Let's say for example we don't know the type to of num. Let's call calling this num. Let's call this um some var. That means some variable, and we want to log some var to the console. We don't know what some var is. Won't using any make sense here? Yeah, using any will make sense because we don't actually know what it is, but there is an alternative to any, a better type to use for variables that we don't know, and it is called unknown. So with unknown, it kind of gives us the benefits we get from using any, and also gives us the benefit of type safety and type checking as well. So I'll explain this to you with some var. Let's assign 10 to this, right? And I have another variable called sum, which is equals to 10 plus some var, and I log sum to the console. The first thing you notice here is that I'm having a red line under some var. If I over it, it says some var is of type unknown, which makes sense of you're telling TypeScript that you don't know the type it is. Even though right here we gave this 10. Let's say when we first declared it, we didn't know the type, then later we knew that oh, some var is equals to 10 or something like that. And now we know that some bar is equals to 10, and now some bar is 10. But we don't know, but TypeScript doesn't know this because TypeScript, total TypeScript is of type unknown. And that makes sense that TypeScript would not just let you add it. TypeScript will not let you access the properties of that variable, which is unknown. Because it doesn't know whether it's a string, a number, a boolean. So it won't make sense if you're trying to add, if this was true, right? And trying to add type of boolean to number, that won't make sense. It gives us 11 because of JavaScript is a completely drunk. It's a completely drunk language, but true kind of equals to one, and yeah, I'm not talking about that now. What we're talking about is that this is of type boolean, and you're trying to add number to it, and that is not proper. So TypeScript would give us error telling us that type some var is of type unknown and you can't add type unknown to number. So what do we do in this situation? Let's say it was of type unknown, then we now know the type, and now we know the type. It's a let's say of type 50, and now we now want to be able to access its properties and do this kind of calculations with it without getting errors from TypeScript. We can do what is called casting. With casting, we can tell TypeScript later on in the future that now we know the type and we want to add this type to it. So let's have a variable here called um, casted var, and which will be equals to, we'll give this a type of number first of all. Then this will be equals to some var, okay, some var as number. So sorry, let me first some var should be equals to 10 here. Then now we're saying casted var would be equals to some var as number. So what this as is what is casting. When you use as, you are casting this type to some var, because this was of type unknown and we didn't know the type. Later on, we knew that it was 10, and now once you use it, to use it, we have to tell TypeScript that it's no more of type unknown, it's now of type number. And now we are storing that we are storing that in the casted var. So this casted var is pretty much some var, but not of type unknown, but of type number. So if I copy this and replace it with some var here, no error should be thrown. If I copy this right here and bam, you see all the errors disappear. It's clean code. This looks this doing this here right here is what is proper to do. So let's just give a rundown real quick. And first of all, we have a variable of some var which we didn't know of which type. Later on in the future, we knew that, oh, some var was of type number, which was which was 10. Then later on, we wanted to do a calculation with some var of some var with 10. Wanted to add some var to 10, but we won't be able to do that successfully because of TypeScript will throw an error, as TypeScript still recognizes some var of type unknown. To clear TypeScript and let him understand that we already have a type to it and want to be able to assign a type to it, we can use what is called the casting, as we casted of type of number to it, and we stored it in a variable called casted var. And with casted var, we can now do the calculations and access the properties of some var. If we casted string to this, what will happen? I know some of you have been asking yourself that question. I see an error is thrown here because of type string is not assigning to type number, as we have given this a type number here. And if we remove this right here, you will see that the error removes. But as the error removes, casted var is of type string, and we are trying to plus that of its type of number. So let's say we give this boolean. With boolean, the error will show very well because of string and number sometimes can be added. JavaScript is crazy sometimes. So let's see the error that it shows here. Operation plus cannot be applied to type number and boolean, because even though this is 10, as you can see, the value, the result here is 20. We got 10 plus casted var, which is um pretty much some var, is 20, right? But we casted this as boolean, even though it's had the value of number, we casted it of boolean, so TypeScript will throw an error. So we have to cast this as number, and to also make this safer, we can give this casted var number as well. So if we cast this as boolean, TypeScript will throw an error right here. So I hope you guys understood that clearly as I give that example. So these are the two main special types. We also have never, we have undefined, and we have null. So we have things like we have undefined, and if we do undefined will be equals to undefined. Hmm? If we log some var to the console, we see undefined. We should have null as well, and to give us null. And we also have never, which would never would pretty much always throw an error. There are some reasons why you want to use never. There are some reasons why you don't want to use never. But the main thing is undefined, never, and null. You would hardly ever have to use them. That's why I don't want to go too deep into them. You hardly ever have to use them. If you ever have to use them, it's probably because of let's say some complex type checkings that you're trying to create. But for the most part, you never get to use those ones. The ones that you probably have any reasons for using would be any and unknown. And I advise you not to use any. Always try to use unknown, and then you can use casting to give it a type later on when you do have that information. So thank you very much for watching up to this point. I really do appreciate it. Leave me a comment section if this helped. Leave me a comment if this helped you, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.